Mr. Lekhi, could you take us through what is expected in court? He has to be produced in court and the CBI will have to seek his custody. Is that not right? For which they have to give a reason for why it is essential that he has to be in their custody / under arrest?
He's already arrested. The seek will be a remand. Remand is basically for the purposes of police to investigate what they're already doing. I don't want to indulge in the hyperbole with the politicians on both sides are doing, just dealing with the legality of it. What
yes, please.
Will be very relevant for the court tomorrow, and which should actually be an issue which should be raised on behalf of Mr. Sisodia. You see, there have been certain arrests that have taken place prior to the first charge sheet, and the arrests include those with whom he is supposed to have been linked. Now, if the arrests have taken place before the first charge sheet, and he is not charge sheeted, that means the case against him is not quite obviously open and shut, because the CBI has to explain how, when after 60 days the charge sheet was filed, despite Vijay Nair being arrested, he was not arrested. So this is something which has explanation. Now, after the charge sheet, the supplementary charge sheet is filed. That is, the further investigation takes place. And between the two times, this Amit Arora gets arrested again, who's got linkages with him. But again, in the supplementary charge sheet, he's not, Sisodia is not named. Now, because the investigation has proceeded over a period of 4 or 5 months, and the case is actually on the front pages of newspapers, with which we are being told that he is in fact the primary culprit. If that is so, with the relevant people already in custody, what in fact stopped the CBI from naming him in the charge sheet and the supplementary charge. That is number one.
Yes.
Number two, what is very standard in all investigating agencies is the answer is not satisfactory. And the fact that he is not responding.
Not cooperating.
Now, not cooperating is the euphemism for actually not admitting guilt. Now, as far as the response of an accused is concerned, there's a right to silence. And the obligation on the prosecution to actually make the case out. The onus cannot be shifted on the accused to make a case to the prosecution. If the prosecution is so watertight as they claim it to be, then in that event, they should be putting specific questions to him and getting answers, and not getting answers, proceeding therefrom and naming him as an accused, because they would have enough material against him with no explanation from him. And apparently the investigation has actually gone on this period of time, which is actually also not happening. So this is the second legal issue, which again is very important in these things. And thirdly, as far as the necessity for arrest is concerned, the one is power and the other is necessity. The necessity for the arrest essentially is linked to the second issue, that he is not cooperating. Now, if supposing the arrest takes place because the person doesn't admit his guilt, in that event, the purpose of the arrest is violating a constitutional injunction, which in fact guarantees to all of us the right to manage our affairs in a way as not to express ourselves in a manner to inculpate us. So that itself makes the justification for arrest wrong. And if the justification for the arrest is wrong, the entire procedure is violated. It is, whatever I've been hearing on your program, people going to Rajghat or people saying that Inqilab Zindabad and all that is not, in fact, what is actually relevant here is you have to put across what is in fact the mandate, and the Aam Aadmi Party should be better advised, rather than to indulge in hyperbole and talking about the displacement of the BJP, from the legal advice of its legal team, put across the legal issues, which will make more sense, because otherwise this whole controversy will be mired in politics. What is an issue is in fact the integrity of the legal system and the efficacy of the investigating agencies. And the investigating agencies, whether it is a politician or whether it's you or me, as far as the investigating agencies are concerned, investigating agencies have to follow the law. The only question you have to answer is, has the law been followed? And what I've actually said actually shows that there's in fact a problem there. And finally, what I heard while you were talking was that there are procedural lapses. Now this has been coming in the newspapers for a long time.
Yeah.
Now procedural lapses goes to the transactional business rules. Now transactional business rules brings in this power play between the chief minister and the lieutenant governor. So what it actually suggests is that a motivation for this particular case may have been a past struggle between the chief minister and the lieutenant governor as to who is going to be in charge of making the changes in the policy. Now, the changes have been made. If the changes have been made, as far as the changes are concerned, they should have been by an authorized agency, a competent authority, which is actually the bone of contention over here. Now, if the transactional business rule is the basis of this, then this makes it a political arrest. And if it makes it a political arrest, it gets shorn off the legal aspects to justify it on non-political terms. So these are 3 or 4 issues which have essentially to be kept in mind when we deal with this particular issue, rather than are going in extremes in either situation, either bring the BJP or the opponent.
Well, as AAP points out, this investigation was launched by or ordered by the LG. So thank you. Before I let you go, just one other question then. As you say, in court, the CBI will have to ask for custody. They'll have to prove that it is essential that he needs to be in their remand. After that, we do have an option for the AAP to apply for bail, correct?
No, absolutely. They will apply for bail. The bail will not, in all probability, not be granted, because that's another bane of our legal system. That as far as the courts, the trial courts are concerned, the trial courts are, for reasons not forthcoming, very reluctant to grant bail, and even less so when there are political personalities involved or the matter is in something is politically fraught.